Okay, so we are going to move on to the second half of our measures of central tendency lessons. So remember, measures of central tendency is just like the fancy way of saying mean, median, mode, and range. So it's a way of measuring kind of central means the center or the middle of a data set. So it's a way to find like the center or the middle or a pattern in a set of numbers or a set of data. So we're going to talk about mode today. And mode for me is probably one of the easiest to remember. Median and mode are probably the easiest to remember because mode is the number that occurs I'm going to say the most. And it's just easy because mode and most kind of sound alike to me. So MO at the beginning and MO at the beginning. So mode is the most. So if you have a set of numbers and there is a number that appears more times than any of the other numbers, then that is the mode. But if there happens to be a set of numbers where each number only occurs once, that's what this little side note says, then there will be no mode. So there will not be a mode there. So if possible, when you order your numbers from least to greatest, and you see like, okay, well, each of these numbers only appears one time, it's possible for your answer to be no mode. If the question asks like, what is the mode of this data set, but each number just appears one time, your answer could be no mode. So it is easiest to order them from least to greatest. So that's our first step, just like we did in median earlier. So we have 62, 70, 71, 71. Okay, so we already see a repeat there. 94, 95, and 97. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So once we have them in order, we can tell that the only number that repeats is 71 and 71 here. So the mode of our data set is 71. Okay, so that's how you find the mode. Now, again, if there was only one 71 in this set, then no other number repeats. So we would just put that there was no mode down here, no mode. Okay, our last part that we're going to talk about is range. So it's the fourth and final one. So when you think about the range of something, sometimes you think of range as like how far something can go, or like the distance between two things. And that's kind of helpful because the range is actually the difference of the largest and smallest number in the data set. So it kind of, we'll practice. So the largest number that we have here is 97. And the smallest number that we have is 62. So our range means we want to know like what's the distance between these two numbers? What range does our data set cover? Does it cover a large range? So it means it covers a lot of numbers, or a small range, doesn't cover many numbers. So if we were to subtract, because difference means to, I'm actually going to put this in there to remind us, difference means to subtract. So if we subtract, we have 7 minus 2 gives us 5, and then 9 minus 6 gives us 3. So our range here would actually be 35. So notice that, let me put that in the box there. Notice that your range Range is a little bit different. It doesn't start with an M, so it kind of like is not in that pattern. But also, whenever we looked at mean and median, the numbers are like usually within the range of the numbers we have. Same thing with mode. Range is different. So range is not, it might not be within the numbers that you have here. So we just want to know the difference between our largest and our smallest number. We're basically just subtracting the smallest from the largest. Okay, we're going to look at a set of numbers and we're going to practice finding the mean, median, mode, and range for them together before you guys go practice on your own. Okay, so for number one, it says the data shows the amount of hours 7 kids played outside over the weekend. So I want to point out that it says 7 kids here because if it tells us that there's 7 kids, we should have 7 numbers here to represent the 7 kids. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that works. Okay, so for the mean, we're going to find the average. So we need to start with our total. So we're going to add 7 plus 7 plus 11 plus 9 plus 8 plus 7 plus 7. Our total is 56. So then we divide by however many numbers we just added, which we know that total there is 7. So we're going to divide by 7, and we get a mean of 8. Our median, remember, first thing we have to do is we have to put them in order. So I'm actually going to do that. I'm just going to try to write it really small right here first. So we're going to put them in order. 7, 7. There's like 4 sevens there. 8, 9, 11. Okay, so for the median, we need to work our way in. So 7 and 11 are together, 9 and 7, 7 and 8. So 7 is our middle number right here. And there's only one middle number, so we just have one median. So we can just put that our median is 7. Okay. Now we have also for the mode, we already put our numbers in order here, so we don't have to redo it. But we can obviously see here that our mode, the number that appears the most, is also 7. And then for our range, again, we already have them in order from least to greatest, so that's kind of nice there. We want to find the difference. So remember, you have to start with the largest number. So you want to start here. You don't want to do 7 minus 11 because that's going to get you a negative number, and that's not going to be correct. So you have to start with the largest, then you have to subtract the smallest number. Nope. There we go. So our range is going to be 11 minus 7. That is 4. So our range is 4 here. Okay, so that is how we find mean, median, mode, and range for a data set altogether. Let's see one of our other examples. Let's go ahead and look at number 3 quickly. Okay, so it says the data shows the ages of 6 siblings in a family. So again, it tells us that there's 6 siblings, so we should have 6 numbers here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So let's go ahead and start with our mean. We have to find the total of all these numbers. So 22 plus 36 plus 28 plus 43 plus 34 plus 29 equals 192. And then we're dividing by how many numbers there are here, which we know is 6. So that gives us a mean of 32. And we can kind of double check ourselves. We know that should be right because it does kind of fall, somewhere in the middle of our set here. It's not much higher than the highest number or much lower than the lowest number. Okay, so our middle, again, we have to put them in order from least to greatest. So let's start with the smallest is 22, then 28, then 29, then 34. Sometimes you may miss a number, like I almost just missed putting 29 in there. You can always go back and squeeze it in. 34, 36, and 43. Make these a little bit smaller so we can get them all on one row. Okay, so that's pretty small. So now from the outside in, we have 22 and 43. 28 and 36 are together. Oh, okay. Now we have 2 middle numbers. So remember what happens whenever we have 2 medians. We can't have an answer of 2 medians. We have to only find 1 median. So think to yourself real quick, what do we do whenever we have 2 medians there? We have to jump back to the mean and we find the average or the mean of these 2 numbers. So we take 29 plus 34, which equals 63. We divide by 2 because we're only adding 2 numbers this time. So that gives us 31 and a half. And that is fine to have a decimal point there. Okay, moving on to mode. So if we look at mode, we know mode is the number that appears the most. So we have our numbers in order here already, so we don't need to rewrite them. But it doesn't look like we have a number that repeats. So remember, whenever you don't have a number that is listed more than once, we just write that there is no mode. And that's fine to have that as an answer if there is truly no mode. Okay, going back to range. Remember range, look back at your order. It's going to be helpful whenever we already have them in order. We take our largest number, subtract our smallest number, and that's going to give us a range of 21. All right, guys. Well, that is our practice together. So when this video is done, go ahead and go back to your Google Classroom assignment. You are going to have slides on there for your next step that you are going to be doing something similar. You're going to be practicing this yourself, actually. All right, so go ahead and head to that next step. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Remember to be safe, respectful, and responsible for the rest of your time with your guest teacher and just your classmates around you as well. Thank you.